Hello everybody and welcome to this latest edition of the Money Man News. And today I've got some very incredible news for you. I think you guys are going to really love what I have to share for you today. So stick around to the end of the video because I've got some amazing banknotes to show off. Now, as you probably know, the UK has many different banks that issue currency. We have the Bank of England for the whole of the UK. We have 3 commercial banks in Scotland. And all 4 of those parties have actually released their versions of the £20 polymer notes. However, we're still waiting for the commercial banks in Northern Ireland to do the same. They have been held up because of the virus, but now their versions of the new £20 polymer notes are due for imminent release. That's right. 20th of July, the commercial banks in Northern Ireland are going to be releasing their versions of the new £20 polymer notes, and I'm very excited. So let's have a look at the first one. Now, I have shown this off in another video because Ulster Bank were very early to release a preview of their new addition to the new series of polymer banknotes, and it looks absolutely amazing. I think this is going to be the best of the 3 actually. So of course we've got the vertical Ulster Bank £20 polymer banknote, and here it is, and it looks incredible. I really like the focus on architecture and Northern Irish song culture. I think that's really nice. The reverse is very beautiful, and I also like the continuation of the theme of flora and fauna of Northern Ireland. I think these banknotes are going to be very impressive when we put them under UV light. The 5 and the 10 are already very impressive under UV light. I think the 20 is going to be no different, so I can't wait to see how that blooms into life when you do subject it to UV light. But like I said, I've already featured this one before because the preview came out quite a while ago, so this is not exactly new news. However, what is new is that they are due for release very soon. So, that's the Ulster Bank. Let's have a look at the Bank of Ireland £20 polymer note. And here it is. Now, unfortunately, I don't have an image of the reverse of this banknote, but we can safely conclude that it's going to feature the Bradbury Brewery on the back, just like its paper cotton predecessor. An important thing to note about this banknote is it's basically an adaptation of its paper cotton predecessor, and it's just been adapted into a polymer substrate note. So they've retained a lot of the design aspects from its predecessor and added some new extra features that can be introduced because of the what polymer allows you to do. And what I'm talking about there is the clear window on the right side of the note. And the other polymer notes in this Bank of Ireland series are very beautiful, particularly the areas of the note that do feature the clear window. They're very nice to look at. So I think this is going to be a very nice banknote when I actually have it in my hands, and I am excited for it. However, I am slightly disappointed that there wasn't an overhaul of this series in terms of design. That being said, I do like the very sort of traditional style of the Bank of Ireland notes. They sort of remind me of old Bank of England notes going back to, 1960s, pre-1960s. So I do like that. But an overhaul, I would have preferred that a little bit more, I think. Anyway, the interesting thing about the Bank of Ireland notes is that they state explicitly on their website that they do not have any plans to change the £50 or the £100 Bank of Ireland notes into polymer. So that's really unusual. So you're going to have lower denominations as polymer banknotes, and higher denominations will continue to be cotton paper. Now, I think the reason for that is because £50 and definitely £100 notes are very seldom seen in circulation in the UK. I mean, I've talked about this before. In England, people very rarely use £50 notes, and the Bank of England doesn't even issue a £100 note for general circulation. Now, in Scotland and Northern Ireland, you do have £100 notes, but I have never seen one in general circulation. So I think it's very unusual for people to see £100 notes and £50 notes as well. I think they're mainly used for interlending between banks. So the amount of wear and tear on those banknotes is going to be much less than the lower denominations, which people are going to be handling every day. So I think that's why they've decided to just stick with polymer for the lower denominations that are going to be handled much more and are going to be subject to the wears and tears of capitalism much more than the larger denominations. However, it is feasible that they will produce a polymer version of the £50 in the future, but right now they have no plans. So this could be the final polymer in this series. Who knows? Let's see what happens. But it should be a very, very nice banknote when I actually get it in my hands. One of the weird things about this is that it's green as well. Now, if you think about the Danske Bank £10 note, that's also green. So there doesn't seem to be any synergy between the three commercial banks in terms of colour scheme, and that's really unusual. If you think about Scotland or Hong Kong, both of those territories have three commercial banks issuing currency, but they all follow the same colour scheme for their respective denominations. However, that is not the case in Northern Ireland. There's no synergy between the three banks in terms of colour scheme, and I find that really bizarre. It's interesting, but it's bizarre. And then you've got the Bank of England designs on top of that. It must be confusing for people who don't go there very often, who are just tourists. If you're not used to actually reading banknotes, looking at the denomination, if you just hand it over just by looking at the colour scheme, it could be a bit confusing for people. Anyway, that's just an interesting thing, a quirky thing about Northern Irish banknotes. Now, the final one we've got is the Danske Bank, formerly Northern Bank, of course, and this is basically similar to the Bank of Ireland note, because what they've done is they've basically just adapted the design of its cotton paper predecessor and incorporated the core elements into this new polymer design, with the addition of the extra security features like the clear blue window that you can see on the left of the banknote. So slight disappointment that there isn't an overhaul of the design here. However, it does look incredible. I've got to say this, you know, when I view Northern Irish banknotes, I hold them up to a very high standard, because Northern Ireland has got a long, distinguished history of producing absolutely gorgeous, incredible banknotes. Okay, so I hold them up to a very, very high standard, and I have high expectations of them. Does this banknote meet it? Yes, just because I know that when I have this in my hand, I'm going to be giddy like a child, and I think it's going to be really vibrant. So that will redeem it for me. But let's see what happens. So let me know what you think about these three designs. I'm very, very excited to get hold of examples of these. And luckily for me, I have a very good friend in England who is working hard to try and secure some supply for me. Fingers crossed he pulls it off. He's a legend. He's never let me down. So hopefully I will have examples of these banknotes sort of mid-August, hopefully. Let's see what happens. As soon as I have an example from each of the three commercial banks, I will be showing them off in a video to you guys. So let me know, which one do you think is your favourite? I've got to say, before I see them, Ulster Bank. Hands down for me, and I think even when I have them in my hand, I still think it's going to be Ulster Bank. But let me know if I am insane. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Get it down in the comment section. I want to hear your views on this one. So that is the exciting news that I have for you today. So that's all I can say is thank you so much for watching. The channel continues to grow, and I've got some amazing content coming up in the very near future. So please don't forget to subscribe, and you can find me on Facebook as well. And I do have plans to move on to Instagram, but I'm having some issues with photos, which I'm trying to fix. But life keeps getting in the way. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next Money Man video. Bye bye.